It's time to take a look at the numbers on the Ball Lightning and Plunder Run bands. Hi friends, welcome back to Nearly Sane Games. I'm Neil, and today I'm going to be talking about the recent bannings of Plunder Run and Ball Lightning. What makes these cards so dangerous? Let's get into it. We'll start with a look at Plunder Run. We'll start with the base value. The red pitch version gets 10 points for pitch, 30 points for block, and 10 points for the generic tax. Add this to our standard cost of negative 100, and we have a base value of negative 50 points. That leaves us with a lot of points for abilities. I'm going to start with the second ability. It begins with if this is played from Arsenal. This is a cost that appears on several cards: Unmovable, Promise of Plenty, Lightning Surge, and is worth negative 10 points. It continues, the next attack action card gains. Since we don't get the value from this right away, this is another cost worth negative 10 points. Then we have a power boost depending on the pitch. +3 for the red pitch, +2 for the yellow, and +1 for the blue. This is very similar to the ability on Come to Fight. This entire ability's contribution for the red pitch ends up being negative 10 plus negative 10 plus 30 for the +3 power, or 10 points total. Adding Go Again is worth 30 points. This leaves us with 10 points total left over for the first ability. Let's start with the benefit. Draw a card is a well-established benefit worth 20 points. This means the cost, the next time an attack card hits, needs to be a cost of negative 10 points to balance. Does this seem right? Well, let's think about that for a minute. If the card instead said, the next attack card gets, if this hits, draw a card, we would be introducing two costs. The first is that the ability goes on the next attack. The second is the requirement that the attack hits to gain the benefit. When considering this, it seems a little more reasonable that the cost is worth negative 10 points. So if this card is balanced, why is it so powerful and why is it banned? For that, let's look at the only other card that uses next time an attack card hits wording, which is Electrify. When we look at these cards side by side, they look very similar. They both have a benefit from being played from Arsenal. They both give a damage buff, and they both can draw a card. Should Electrify also be banned? Is Electrify just going to be a straight-up replacement for Plunder Run and Briar? Well, no. The most important difference between these two cards are the costs. The zero-cost Plunder Run is a huge difference for decks that want to abuse the zero-cost strategy. If your deck consists of all or mostly zero-cost cards, everything becomes about drawing cards, because when you draw a card, you can play it. As you start adding cards with cost into your deck, you start to increase the chances of drawing a card that requires pitch. Having multiple cards that require any amount of pitch becomes a big problem, because most of your cards are going to be red pitch. This is why I think Plunder Run is bannable and Electrify is not. While all of Plunder Run's abilities balance out mathematically, I think having such powerful abilities on a card with zero cost is too much. Next, let's take a look at the other side of the ban with Ball Lightning. Looking at the base value, we get 10 points for red pitch, 30 points for 3 power, and 10 points for 0 defense. This leaves our base value at negative 50. Adding Go Again is worth 30 points. This leaves us with 20 points for the ability. We start with whenever these types of attacks would deal damage. This type of wording of deal damage instead of on hit, I believe, is a deliberate boost to cards that deal additional arcane damage like Arcanic Shockwave, and equipment that can provide additional damage from attack cards like Shock Charmers and Mark of Lightning. Since this boosts itself as well as other cards, this is a benefit worth 20 points. The additional 1 point damage boost is another benefit worth 10 points. So as we start to discuss Ball Lightning, we can already see that it is 10 points above where it should be, and remember, those points were not spent on block. Let's compare Ball Lightning to its closest counterpart, Frazzle. The ability on these cards is largely the same, except Frazzle requires you to fuse it in order to get the ability. Frazzle is also an arrow attack, so it needs to be loaded into a bow. Frazzle also does not have Go Again and can still cost 1 resource. I think the big problem with Ball Lightning was removing the block to give it more offensive power. This card should have had 2 block without Go Again. If LSS had balanced Smash with Big Tree for not having any block value, the red would have been 11 power for 2 pitch, and everybody would be playing Brute. Ball Lightning is an overly offensive powered card, and it is banned with good reason. And that's it for my analysis of the bannings. Overall, I think these bannings were justified. But now it's time to hear from you. How do you feel about the bannings? Should LSS have banned only 1 card? Should more have been banned? Let me know what you think in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like and consider subscribing to my channel. Until next time, friends, I'm Neil, and you've been watching Nearly Sane Games.